Hello, this is my response for Module 1, the reflection, and I'm going to start out by answering the questions. In the first question, we were asked to explain what Aldo Leopold meant when he claims a thing is right when it tends to preserve the integrity, stability, and beauty of the biotic community. It is wrong when it tends otherwise. We were also asked to clarify the meaning of integrity, stability, and beauty when they are used in reference to the environment, and also to explain why some authors consider that these values may be insufficient or problematic for guiding our relationship with nature. To answer this, I would have to say that Aldo Leopold's statement in a Sand County Almanac creates the base for his land ethic. This land ethic calls for moral and ethical responsibility towards the natural world, and Aldo Leopold also suggests that human actions should be judged by their impact on the biotic community. This biotic community that he speaks of includes all living organisms, as well as how these organisms interact within their respective ecosystems. So when Aldo Leopold says a thing is right when it tends to preserve the integrity, stability, and beauty of the biotic community, it is wrong when it tends otherwise. The use of integrity, the way that Leopold uses it, refers to maintaining the wholeness of nature without human interference. The stability that Leopold refers to is the ability of an ecosystem to maintain its own balance over time. And finally, when Leopold talks about the beauty of nature, he is referring to sustaining the natural complex beauty in nature and how it is our responsibility to maintain this beauty. With this statement, he is trying to point out how important it is for humans to take responsibility on nature's behalf by not only conserving the organisms that are an important piece of their respective ecosystems, but also the organisms that play small roles in the ecosystems. To answer the final part of this question, I would say that some authors might view Aldo Leopold's ideas to be insufficient or problematic for guiding our relationship with nature because they leave out that ecological change is constant, making the stability nearly impossible. Another claim against Leopold is the idea of beauty. Beauty is subjective depending on who you ask, and this is something that those authors might claim. The last concern of these authors could be that Aldo Leopold's land ethic still places humans in a managerial role rather than one that is integrated into the ecosystem. In the second question, we are asked to clarify the main argument of Vogel's paper, nature and the built environment. We are also asked to explain the idea and provide at least two arguments that Vogel uses to support his conclusion. To clarify Stephen Vogel's paper, Nature and the Built Environment, I would have to say that it challenges the distinction between nature and artificial nature or built environment. In the paper, Vogel argues that this division between real nature and artificial nature is misleading and incorrect. Vogel is an advocate for constructivist environmental philosophy, which asserts that all environments, whether they are considered natural or artificial, are all shaped by human activity. He then leads us to his point about seeing nature as something that isn't separate from humans, but instead is something that humans play a role in constructing and maintaining. Two key arguments that Vogel brings up when defending this point of view is that built nature isn't opposed to nature, and that all environments are humanly constructed. With the first key argument, Vogel points out that although human-made built environments are often viewed as unnatural, they are instead built out of natural materials and therefore making them more natural than we may think. In the second key argument about all nature being humanly constructed, Vogel points out that pure untouched nature is a myth, and that all nature has either been directly affected by humans in ways such as deforestation, or they have been affected in indirect ways such as by carbon emissions or greenhouse gases like this. For the final question, we were asked to watch The Tragedy of the Commons and explain how it relates to Vogel's ideas about the causes of environmental crisis. After watching The Tragedy of the Commons, it was very easy to see how this concept related to Vogel's ideas about the causes of environmental crises. Both the concept of the tragedy of the commons and the thoughts of Vogel point out the importance of social constructs and how they can make or break resources found in the environment. It comes down to the greed of humans and how much of one's portion is being exceeded due to this greed. Both of these concepts point out that this is the cause for many environmental crises, because as we know, and as it's explained in the Tragedy of the Commons video, we all have our own portion within the environment and within like the pool of resources that we have to choose from. And if we do not stick to these or exceed them, we risk overusing these resources and possibly losing them forever.